Please excuse me today, I'm a little sick, but I wanted to get this video out to you because I'm going to be going to Japan in a couple weeks. So most of the videos I'm going to be producing are going to be from Japan. So I wanted to get this one last technical video out of the way before you get your Japanese content. So what I want to bring to you today is a camera that I thought is really interesting and I feel like you guys would like seeing it and learning about it. It is the Canon Elan 7. This camera is also known as the EOS-30 in Europe, and it's also known as the EOS-7 in Japan. I'm just giving you these names because if you're looking for it on eBay, it might be named those things if they're listed from a foreign country. This camera can also be called 7E, and what the E stands for is eye tracking. Now you may be asking, what is eye tracking? It's actually a pretty cool feature that Canon made up, where in the eyepiece there are focus squares, obviously, if you have an autofocus system, and whatever focus square that your eye is looking at is what the camera is going to focus on. My camera doesn't have that, but from what I hear that it does work pretty well, so if that's something you want, look for the 7E model. This camera came out in 2000, and what I like about this camera is it is a budget premium camera. So pretty much it's very close to being the EOS-1, but for a budget price, because everyone's flocking for the EOS-1, but no one's giving love to the Elan 7. And where it cuts cost is the construction. So the EOS-1 is a metal body, where the Elan 7 is a mixture of plastic and aluminum, which is able to cut the cost. So you can get a camera with all the premium features for a good price. So basically, if you want a camera that is close to digital, this is going to be what you want. This is going to be a quicker video. I'm going to go over some of the specs, but I'm not going to go for the full tour of the camera. If that's something you're interested in, just leave the comments down below and I'll make a highly technical video of the camera showing all the features, all the buttons, and all like the hidden menus. But let me know if that's something you want. I'm going to keep this video short and give you some knowledge and show you some example photos. Before we dive into specs, I just want to show you where locations of some buttons are. So on the top you have your screen where it's going to show you your information. You have your mode selection, and then there's a dial here for your shutter speed, and then there's also a dial in the back for your aperture if you're in manual mode. This camera has an EF mount, so if you have EF lenses, they're going to fit this camera and you're good to go if you have these lenses already. The shutter speed on this camera ranges from 30 seconds to 1/4000th of a second, and then of course it has bulb mode. The ISO range on this camera is 6 to 6400, but this is in manual. It also has a DX reading from 25 to 5000. This camera has continuous shooting, so I mean if you want to waste your film and you want to continuously shoot, maybe I shouldn't say waste, because if you have bird photography or you're doing like race cars, it does come in handy, but for a normal photographer you're not going to use that feature, but it does have it. The camera has 3 metering modes. It has 35 zone evaluation, it has center weighted, and it has 10% partial. The camera also has 7 autofocus points, so this is what I was talking about earlier, where if you had the 7E model, you would look at these focus points to focus, but if you don't have the E model, you would hit the arrow keys to pick the focus point you would like the camera to focus on. Most of the time it's in the center or to the left and right, but you could have the focus point be anywhere. I just want to talk about the viewfinder really quick. The viewfinder has 90% vertical and 92% horizontal coverage, and then the viewfinder also has a diopter, this is the first Canon EOS model to include a diopter, so that's also a nice cool feature. And the camera, for batteries, it uses 2 CR123A batteries, so just keep that in mind. It's not really like a common battery like AAA, AA, but that's the battery it uses, so make sure you get those before you purchase your camera. Now I would like to show some example photos, and in these example photos I use 2 film stocks. It is the Tri-X 400 and then the Cinestill 400D. So if you see black and white and you see color, you know what film stock they're coming from. I'm going to show you some portraits, landscapes, and also various objects, and just to show you how it handles these types of subjects. I'm going to start with the portraits first. All these are going to be in black and white, so let's just go through them now. These photos were taken in an indoor bakery. This just shows you how a camera does with metering in an inside setting. the metering is automatic, and the DX code was read from the box. So I didn't change box speed with any of these photos that you're about to see in all these example photos. This photo was in a dark museum, and then these photos are from a dark subway. So this camera does an excellent job metering in dark areas. These ones were done outdoors in bright sun. And then this photo was done with a flash. So this is how the camera handles the flash. And also I'll use this time just to say the camera does have a built-in flash. So hopefully this shows you some of the portrait conditions. We're gonna move on to now things and the environment. I have 2 more museum photos here. And this is a dim lit cafe. And it just shows you again how well it meters these objects. This one is also a picture inside a train, so you have the bright light coming from the window and then the dark interior of the train. And once again, it meters it very well. So again, this is all stuff to keep in mind when buying the camera. So these 2 photos are flowers I took up close, so more of like a macro photography. Handles it pretty well. This photo has indoor lighting as well as the light that's coming through the leaves. Once again, the camera meters it well. These photos are outside. Once again, the camera is metering from aperture priority, and it handles the snow well. Usually cameras have a hard time with the bright white snow, but this camera took it like a champ. This photo is an indoor museum. It was highly dim in there, and it again metered very well with the dark greens and the bright whites. So overall, what I get from this camera is that the metering system on the camera can be trusted, and especially using box speed. So a lot of times people tell you to shoot higher than box speed, so then you have a little bit of wiggle room. But this camera really doesn't need it, because I was shooting at box speed and this camera nailed the metering and the exposure on all these photos. Here's another one. It was in a dark room with natural light coming in, and again, it meters perfectly and the exposure is perfect. So I hope you enjoyed the example photos. I know there's not much. I'm still trying to gather more photos to show you, so hopefully when I do a overall technical video, I have more example photos to show. But from what I get from the at least 4 rolls I put through this camera now, is that this camera has a really good metering system. You could trust it in what it reads. So when you're in manual mode and it tells you if you're over, under exposed, you could trust that metering. And then the options you have on the camera are so close to digital that you'll feel comfortable using this camera, and it weighs about the same as a modern day digital camera, so it's something to consider. And overall, I'm offering this information to you because a lot of people are telling people to do the EOS-1, where it's a very expensive camera, but you get all the bells and whistles in this Elan 7 and you don't have to pay such a premium to get it, because the photos come out perfect. And really what you want from a camera is a good meter, so you don't have to carry your own meter. You also need it to have the features you want, and this one is just loaded with features. If you like this video, please subscribe, because like I said, I'm going to Japan and I'll be taking back a lot of footage from Japan that I would like to share with you guys. So if that's something you're interested in, that's something to look forward to. Also, I just got my hands on the Kodak new motion picture film, where they don't have the remjet layer. So I'm going to be testing this roll right when the weather gets nicer, so springtime, summertime. I'm going to get a couple rolls of those to show you guys, so you'll be able to see how the new motion picture film looks. And I'm going to be using the Elan 7 to test that film with. So again, you're going to see the Elan 7 come up again. I got a lot of future plans that I hope that interest you, and I hope you subscribe so you get to see that stuff and share that with me. Other than that, have a good day and thanks for watching.